We are live. Welcome to another episode of the Jewish Jesus podcast, everybody. I'm the Jew.
And I'm Jesus.
And we have an amazing special guest today. He goes by the name Jesse. Is it pronounced Meester, the last name?
Yes, master
Jesse
in English.
Well, I like Master better. Jesse Master, who is, I like to call him Jesse's bestie of Joe Exotic. He talks to Joe every single day. And Joe is unjustly in prison. We'll get into that in a minute. But Jesse has been on the front lines to free Joe Exotic, and we're really excited to talk to him today. Jesse, welcome to the podcast. We're thrilled to have you.
I appreciate that, man. Very good to see you guys. Connor, good to see you again.
Love the books behind you.
Yeah, Jesse and Connor already know each other because they're both in the fitness space. Is that how you met, Jesse?
Well, actually, now you say it, yeah. I think everything is a little bit related to that space. I left the space a couple of years ago. I won the Dutch Fitness Awards in 2018, but I always kept track with Connor and his journey and his spiritual journey, and I loved what he was doing. So we reconnected and we did an update back. When was it, Connor? A year ago?
And, it wasn't 6 months or something. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. And people loved it, man. To hear back from you and what you went through, and very personal, up and close. So man, we should do that at some point again.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more to the story. I just released kind of this big. There's a lot to talk about, so we should definitely do a podcast. But Trilstein, I think you're echoing a little bit.
Am I?
Yeah, I'd put on some headphones. Yeah.
Sorry,
if you have them right there.
Let's see if it works. Oh nah, because then the Instagram can't hear me. All right, well they'll just have to come to YouTube.
Yeah, tell them to come to YouTube, dude.
Hang on.
YouTube, they can see all our beautiful faces, man.
It's true. Mm-hmm. Am I echoing less now, Connor?
Yeah, I think you're good. Yeah, I can't hear myself anymore.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I'm curious, man. How did you and Jesse come into contact? Because that's interesting. That is an interesting synchronicity. Because Jesse and I, we've talked at least like 3 times or something like that. We've done like 3 different podcasts.
Yeah, Instagram, come to YouTube if you want to hear Jesse and Connor. Otherwise, you're just going to hear me. So I got in touch with Jesse because me and Joe Exotic have been DMing on Instagram. It's obviously not Joe. Joe's in prison, but it's his team, a beautiful person. I won't say their name. They want to be anonymous, but we've been DMing here and there about freeing Joe and things I can do. I've been hashtagging free Joe Exotic, the Tiger King. And anyway, I messaged this person and said, hey, I'd love to interview you and talk about freeing Joe and what we can do. And she suggested, God damn it, it's a woman, sorry. She suggested that I speak to Jesse, and that's how we made this podcast happen.
That's wild, dude. Yeah, Jesse, I had no idea that you were so in touch with Mr. Joe. So that's awesome, man. I'm excited.
Jesse, how did you get so in touch with Mr. Exotic? Why don't you explain how you guys are like best friends?
Man, it went so it all started actually with his ex, and I had a podcast, and
his ex-boyfriend, ex-husband. What do you mean by ex?
Ex-husband, actually, yeah.
Okay.
And we had like 2 podcast recordings, and also I was in touch with Carol Baskin of everybody who wanted to be on the podcast, but little did she know that I was a Joe supporter. So after kind of like I was helping on the sideline for 2 years through his ex-husband now, Joe never knew. And then Joe reached out and heard about it. And I was like, oh my God, man, you've been there on the sideline throughout it all without ever taking any money of me, making any money off my back, or using me. You've just been on the sideline quietly supporting me, donating money to his legal fund, everything, right? And now, because we got back in touch and we started talking directly together, he just calls me every day and writes me, and I've been helping him. I've been reviewing contracts, so I think that's kind of like where it happened, man. Yeah.
Wow,
that's just so cool. Crazy.
Yeah, the first thing I want to know, so I remember watching the documentary back in the day. Unfortunately, though, I was with this South African girl. I remember it was during COVID. It was during the lockdowns. And unfortunately, I was somewhat distracted by her while we were watching the documentary together. It was it was kind of like a Tiger King and chill type date. So I know the outline of the story, but especially for the people who aren't too familiar, at least give like a brief summary, like why is Joe in jail and why do you think he shouldn't be?
Well, a short story is that he was set up. He, as I think we all can agree on, he was a very good man. took care of animals, and a lot of people did a lot of good for people and communities. And then what happened was that because of his hatred and the challenges between him and Carol Baskin, the FBI set up a murder plot for hire, and that's where what he also got charged for. So what happened was that he had a phone conversation, but it was set up. It was all planned to get him convicted for that charge.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like people ask, but he killed tigers. Well, that's not true either. And I think that's why like a lot of things, and also by the way, the tigers that were that were found, they were ill, right? So they were going to die. So that's important to know as well. And I think people really need to look into the evidence. And important is that I have a 24-hour, 24/7 live stream right now where we show the tiger tails, which is also available to see on Joe Exotic TV YouTube and Meester PT YouTube, just a 24/7 loop where we show all the evidence once more with the amazing lawyer John Phillips, who's really into the case and kind of like has a lot of people on board that we're really deep diving into the evidence. So if you do that and you read into it, you're like, oh my god, why is this man still in jail? And that is exactly what we're doing. So also had briefly contact before he was banned with Andrew Tate, now with Tristan Tate, and we might do as well an emergency meeting, hopefully soon, where we can create more awareness, which they're already doing, which I'm really grateful for. Um, so I'm just really happy also with this platform to kind of like talk about it and create as much awareness as possible. Because what happened is that everybody enjoyed Tiger King, everybody had fun watching it while everybody was locked down. But then what happened after? Like people kind of like forgot, people moved on with their lives. In the meantime, there's an innocent man in jail, in prison.
Yeah.
Like his health is deteriorating.
Right.
We should be continuing to talk about that, and I think that we would all want that. If it was you,
Yeah.
me, I would want people to help me, and that's why he really encourages people to write him letters as well, not
Yeah.
just percent donate, but like to get in touch with him, and he reads
Yeah.
them. It really truly gives him hope, and that is exactly what he needs
Yes.
right. Mhm.
All the links to support Joe are in the description. So the petition to get him out, how to write letters, how to contact senators. In fact, you know who I'm talking about. We're gonna call her Elvira. So Elvira is Tony Montana's wife in Scarface, and they have a tiger. So I call her Elvira. She told me that Joe wanted me to make a video making a statement to the senator from Oklahoma, and I did. So hopefully that spread some awareness as well. But it's funny you mentioned the Tate brothers, because that's really how I got in touch with Joe, because I'm a huge fan, and I saw him talk about Joe Exotic, and I looked it up a little bit, and I just by reading the quick details, it's very obvious this man should not be in prison. I mean, just the sheer lying and fake news. They're doing the same thing to Kanye West, Kyrie Irving, Donald Trump, pick a name. They always do this. The media wants clicks. And it's unfortunate that Gawker in 2008 created this model where you make money based on clicks, which is a horrible way to run a business. So it's very unfortunate that they did this to Joe. So let's milk him for all his money and views in 2020, but then let's use the next story to make it get more clicks and just let's let him rot in prison. I think that's wrong, Jesse.
Absolutely, man. And like that's also when I talk to him, I'm like, I hear his stories, and I'm like, God damn, man, he has been done so dirty by the people
Yeah.
closest to him. You're his ex-husband to his money. People leveraging his likeness for their own benefit. Like, and that's, by the way, it's all okay. And this is what also the conversation that I have, because we're working on an NFT project right now. He's like, no, I want people to make money off my name, but I want to see a portion of that. And like right
Yes,
now,
he should.
he's, you know what I mean? Like he should get the
Yeah.
biggest piece of the cake. And that is where I'm like, oh my God, how can people use this man who is literally being
Yeah.
used since the show Tiger King, which we saw.
Right.
So I mean, man, it makes me sad. Like when I
These
talk to him, I
companies.
feel his pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say these companies, they're all for profit, right? So the example I think of is the NBA. When the NBA shut down the NBA during COVID, they said it was because of the health and safety concerns for the fans. And yet, if you look at the NBA's sponsored drink, like the drink they promote, it's Mountain Dew. Like they don't care about people's health. They just do what they can to make money. And at the time,
Yeah.
they thought shutting down for COVID would make them the most money. Similarly with Netflix, let's get the money and then not support the guy, which is totally screwed up. And again, I said this to Joe. I wrote him an email. He wrote me one back. It was beautiful. But I basically explained to him, I did Fresh and Fit on September 12th. They're close with the Tates. And shortly thereafter, I won't get into all the details. I don't want this to be about me. I want it to be about Joe. But while I didn't get imprisoned, I was also lied and backstabbed to by a lot of people, including my own mother, to trick me to basically be involuntarily hospitalized into a psych ward. Similar to what Connor went through, except mine was involuntary. And I had no idea. Like, I flew to New York. They drove me straight there. I was like angry, justifiably. And the doctor said, oh, he must be bipolar, and locked me against my will. It could have been up to 90 days, and it got fucking dark. I got out in 10, fortunately, and I could have sued them. But the point is, I kind of get what it's like to be betrayed and abandoned, because since Fresh and Fit, and since being open about supporting the Tates and wearing a MAGA hat, 99% of people in my life have turned their back on me, including people that owe me money. And Connor stuck by me, which is why we're still friends, and why, again, it's not the same level as Joe, but I feel like I sort of get it.
I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, honestly, wow, what a story, by the way, man. I'm just processing that. But what is crazy about all this? Like, we might have all different lives and personalities in chat.
Our friend's freezing up a little bit. It's that Spain Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah.
Is the Wi-Fi? Yeah.
Oh, you're
we're
back
good?
now. Go ahead. You're back now.
Oh, we're good. Okay. So what I was gonna say is, like, regardless of any opinions, I think it's very, very important that we support the people that stand up for something. It's
Yeah.
you wearing a MAGA hat. It's you speaking out about something or going through something, right? Let's have that honest and open conversation. What is it you're going through? Let's talk about this controversy. You might have a different opinion. That's okay, right? Same with Andrew. Same with a lot of people that stand up for something, who have the balls to do that.
Yeah.
But let's stick together with our inner circle of people, and that's what I respect as well in Connor. And I know his personal story, of course. In that moment, he needs people closest to him to be like, "Hey, go, bro, I got you." I know
Yeah.
this is whatever you're going through right now, but let's have this honest conversation. And that's why the podcast was so powerful, because we had that open
Yeah.
conversation and we had that platform. And a lot of people turn their back, or even do you dirty, that they use you and take
Yeah.
advantage of you, and that
Yeah.
breaks me, bro. So that's why I keep my inner circle very close. So for me, hearing this story, like, I mean, I'm just very touched by it, because I think that makes it more special, and I think that's also what Joe Exotic wants people to understand. Like, listen, I shouldn't be here, and I need people to support me right now, and that's why I'm very honored for him to say, like, hey, Jess, I want you to stand out there, because you've been there 2 years in the
Right.
sidelines, now go into the
Yeah.
spotlight. This is what people don't understand. I don't want anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to earn anything from it. I'm just really here, like, okay, he asked me to do this, let's do it, as much as I can, because I would expect the same if I'm in a position.
I feel honored to be a part of it as well. And when Connor was going through whatever he was going through a couple of years ago, I spoke to him when he was in the psych ward. I spoke to his family. And while I didn't understand it, I didn't fucking abandon and turn my back on him. I don't understand how people sleep at night, Jesse, doing that kind of fucked up shit. I mean, why do you think people, ex-husbands, boyfriends, whatever, how do these people like look in the mirror and not be disgusted by what they see?
That's my thing. Like, I think there's just a deep rooted evil that resides, and how I want to describe that evil is insecurity, bettering
Yeah.
yourself over the back of others. There's a lot of psychological reasons as to why, and we can talk about that for hours. But like you said, like, how can you look yourself in the mirror, right? And that's also where it's interesting, because I don't know, do you guys remember Jeff Lowe on the Tiger King episode, which now basically was going to take over Tiger King, the zoo.
Okay.
Like, the guy
I'm
with the
not familiar,
cap,
but go ahead.
Jeff Lowe. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he basically, now knowing that Joe Exotic is on, like, being back in the media and everything, he's on another rampage, trying to diminish what he's doing, like creating some fake stories
Right.
about, oh, he arrests some people here, he arrests some people there, and it's crazy, because he's been messaging me, I think Kylie Myers and some other people, including Nick Hogan, who was also involved in supporting Joe
Right.
Exotic, just to be like, you don't want to get involved with this guy. This guy's gonna ruin your career. I'm like, bro, first of all, I don't have a career. I'm already set. You can't cancel me. I'm good for
Right.
life. Secondly, I stand for something. I'm gonna fight for it. And I think that's also
Mhm.
thirdly my message to everybody. Stick together, stand up for something, and have the balls to continue to do that. And unfortunately, I also understand some people that don't have the opportunity, and that actually would be affected by being canceled. So
Yeah.
there is, like, I do see that perspective there. Um, you know, but yeah.
Connor, you got a follow-up question there?
Well, no, it's interesting, man. Yeah, so obviously there's some severe compassion lacking here, and of course, most of it stems from fear, and insecurity is essentially just a manifestation of fear, right? And I think it's important because we're asking for this compassion from people, but I think it's important to give them compassion as well, because they were raised in a specific society, in a specific upbringing, exposed to specific media where they're terrified. They have this fear of being canceled, and they feel like they have to go with societal norms. And we're all living this human experience, and fear is a big part of it. And I just think that it's super important to have discourse with people, understand where they're coming from, and have positive, compassionate communication. And I think that'll really benefit a lot of people. So yeah, Jesse, I mean, so I'm a big fan of you. We're totally on the same page, and I appreciate your open mindedness, man. And yeah, so can we get into? I'm really curious about this whole Joe situation,
Yeah.
and I'm curious, like, what was the incentive of the FBI to do this bad shit to him, to paint him in a light that is not the reality? And I guess what's the kind of the fundamental evidence against it? What are the lies that are being told that are most
Yeah.
obviously lies?
Good questions.
That's a good question, my friend. Well, there's a lot of them, and I think the most recent one is the one that's spread right now by Jeff Lowy. But going back to the first part, he's in prison right now for a murder for plot for hire, murder plot for hire
Right.
charge.
So real quick,
What
Jesse,
happened?
I think it's
Mhm.
worth summarizing to people that are not as familiar with the case. So just really quick synopsis of Tiger King. Joe Exotic, who is it fair to say runs a zoo of some sorts where he has a lot of love for tigers. He used to do these magic shows where he would have people pet the tigers and was very lovey-dovey towards tigers. Carol Baskin made the argument that he was abusing these animals by having people come and pet them, and they had this little rivalry going on. And unfortunately, what proceeded to happen was Joe got sentenced for animal abuse and a plot to kill Carol Baskin, allegedly, which is not true. But the reason he was sentenced was animal abuse and plots to send a hitman on Carol Baskin, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah. So take it from there.
Um, yeah, going to the plot for hire. So this whole, like, Carol Baskin thing, right? There's like there's two sides of it. I understand people putting one on one together and like, okay, wait, he wanted to kill Carol Baskin. I mean, there
Right.
is this kind of like this freedom of what he was doing, right, in his entertainment, which was part of that. He was kind of like doing this during the show as well. For the people that have seen Tiger King, like, where's Carol's husband is here, so you can.
W Candace, she's a
That's a good
mod.
question.
She's awesome. Yeah, it's a
That is a
great
good
question.
question.
Where'd he
Yeah.
go?
You know what's the irony of all this? Carol Baskin still
Yeah,
follows me. I don't know if that's a
of
good or
course
bad
he
thing,
does.
but yeah. So if you're watching
By the
right
way, if
now,
Carol's
Carol,
watching,
yeah,
we're not hating. We just want Joe to be free because he's innocent. Go ahead.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so what happened was that obviously people were seeing that. So what was happening, that the FBI got caught onto it, and they kind of like set up this plot, whereas somebody would have contacted Joe and be like, "Hey, I can help you, to get rid of that, to get rid of her."
Right.
That's kind of like where it started, and that's where I kind of like also say, okay, people, watch the Tiger Tales. That's why we have the live stream up, to really dive deep into how how that happened, who got involved, which person, because I don't want to make a mistake there. But that's kind of like where. So what's the conversation right now is, okay, if it was a setup,
Mhm.
like how real are these charges?
Right.
And if and also what we now, some people signed affidavits, including Jeff Lowy, which has a lot of contradicting information in the benefit of Joe Exotic. So that's another thing we need to
Mm.
look at, because a lot of people testified one thing and now they're testifying another thing. Let's also
Isn't
look at
that
that.
convenient? Isn't that
Um,
funny?
yeah,
How'd that happen?
yeah, right. And that now, what people are getting nervous that are now walking free, who should actually be in prison, because they're not, fuck, if Joe gets free, shit's gonna
Yeah,
go down. Like, he's
that's
gonna be
right.
talking, he's gonna expose some people.
That's right.
So that's why they're getting nervous and they're messaging me, and a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And
Well,
also,
they
one
want
thing
him
that
to
I want
shut
to
up.
address
That's what they
is
want. They
now
want
he's
him
in
to shut
there.
up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, and another thing is like, people really don't understand the conditions in prison where he's in. He's puking every day. He sends me his blood
Awful.
results, which are not good. He sends me
Awful.
because he wants me to speak about this. He's like,
As he should.
and yeah, and it's like now he's transferred to a new hospital and prison, and his mailing address for letters that he really wants to receive from the fans is going to be posted on his socials too. So I really encourage people to do that and get in touch with
Yeah.
him that way, because that's kind of like, honestly, Chosteen, what he's now feeding off. Because
Yeah.
if he doesn't have that, he wouldn't be where he is right now. He's really saying, listen, if it isn't for the people that support me, I wouldn't be able to continue the way that I am now.
And
And
that's why
that's
we're here,
heartbreaking.
right?
It is the truth, guys. Yeah. It's
We
puking
just
every
want to
day.
give support, man. Again, I have not gone through what Joe has gone through, but the past 2 months have been the most challenging of my life. And I know that all I really wanted these past 2 months has been someone to answer the phone and just talk to them like a human. Like, I don't want money. I don't want anything. Like, I just want people to have some compassion for a tough situation. And, you know, I've done my research on Joe, and he's lived a remarkable life. Like, I just want to say a couple things about Joe. At the age of 19, he was the chief of police in Texas. Do I have that right? I mean, that's what I read. This guy was the chief of police. He also is a beautiful singer. He's got a great song called I Saw a Tiger. Hang on, people, really quick. If you are going to make the argument that Joe Exotic hates tigers or is scared of them, like I saw some idiot say, I think his former partner or something, why would he make a love song about a tiger? I mean, it's ridiculous. You read the things people say. I don't know how anyone buys any of this bullshit.
Absolutely. And this is the thing. Like, the people that actually visited the zoo and saw him and had interactions with him saw the love he had for them. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's and also for the people. Like, he literally opened his zoo for people that needed support or needed food, and he spent so much time in doing that. And the only thing that he did was for himself was the entertainment, was entertaining people and doing Joe Exotic TV, and
He's a
like,
showman. He's a
he's a
creator.
showman,
He's an
exactly.
artist.
Yeah.
Let him do
So-
a show. What's the problem?
Yeah. So
You're bringing out the inner Jew in me. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have to call some people out, okay? Because when Tiger King was out, you saw a lot of celebrities having fun with it. People like Conan O'Brien, Joel McHale, who I actually like, by the way, a fellow comedian, and Cardi B, right? They're making all these Tiger King. Where are they now? Oh, now that he's not trending, you're no longer interested? I hate these fake fucks that are only out there to make money and get attention. How about support the guy that you were milking money off of, Netflix? Where the fuck are you now, Ted Sarandos?
Amen. No, I'm glad you say that, man. And who's that other guy that visited the zoo and he was supporting? And I think, by the way, the only guy, Mike Tyson, I think still is. I haven't heard him though.
Of
but I think
course,
he's
Mike
still,
Tyson still supports because he loves tigers. He
but
gets it.
yeah, no, but like Shaq, for instance, didn't he say, "I'm distancing myself"?
Probably. I
You
like
know,
Shaq, but he
like
does that, man. Shaq does that where, and I think Shaq's a good person, but he did the same thing with Kyrie Irving recently. It's just people don't want to lose their endorsement deals, right? It's the same reason LeBron's a liar, right? Like he's standing up for China, that literal, which is I don't have to say anything else about LeBron. He stands up for China. Um, who else is there? LeBron also recently distanced himself from Kyrie Irving, who was supposedly his little brother. All the artists that backstabbed Kanye West when he put on the MAGA hat, the ones that are backstabbing him now, there's very few real loyal people out there. And I can tell that Joe is one of them. And you know why? Because people took advantage of me too, and it takes one to know one.
so wait, Trosin, Michael, you're talking about what happened to you. How long have you been in jail? What have you been through? Just in short, because I'm kind of
Sure.
missing that
I
story.
wasn't in jail. I was incarcerated. I was hospitalized at Zucker Hillside Hospital from September 19th to September 28th. No phone, no laptop. The first night I was there, my roommate said to me, "Takes balls to be in this room." So I was afraid he was going to kill me. So I slept outside on 2 chairs. I got like 2 hours of sleep.
Oh my god, man.
Again, I thought I was flying to New York to see my family, and then they drove me straight to a bullshit psych evaluation where they had like a friend that worked there, where they pulled some strings to get me hospitalized.
Yeah, so like I mean, it's like we said in the beginning, you know, it's very important to see who your true friends are, who you truly
Yeah.
can trust. You know,
Yeah, it's sad.
who's really
Again, I
in
don't
your inner
claim
circle.
to go to be anywhere near the level of Joe, but even when I got out, like 95% of people that I thought were friends and family won't talk to me anymore because they think I'm bipolar, which I'm not. Like the reason I got out so fast, even though I didn't take medication and I was involuntary, is because the doctor gave me the diagnosis of unspecified. Like at the initial one, they might have said whatever they said, but once I was there and I calmed down and explained the situation, they all said, "Oh my God, we're so sorry your parents did this to you. Please don't sue us."
Oh my god! Did you say unspecified? What does that mean?
It means they didn't have a diagnosis because there was nothing wrong with me. I mean, Connor, you're familiar with this. I mean, when a doctor gives you unspecified as a diagnosis, do you know what it means?
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. It just means that they don't have enough evidence to come to a explicit conclusion that there's some specific thing wrong with you. They don't have an actual diagnosis to give you. Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
And they
Oh,
still
so
held me.
unspecified
They
means
still held me, bro.
they hold you, and although
Yeah.
it's unspecified.
Correct.
That's wild, bro.
Well, this is how I was set up because I'm living in Florida, and
Yeah.
they knew there was no chance Florida was going to hospitalize me because they actually believe in freedom here. So they had to trick me to fly to New York to visit them. But oh my God, we have the psych evaluation ready now. Let's drive straight there. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with that. They did it anyway. I walked in there. All right, parents, I trust you. And then I explained the situation kind of angrily
Crazy.
because they stripped me of my clothes and my phone and laptop, like already treating me like a fucking inmate. And when I explained it, they said, "Yeah, we're gonna commit you." And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I just got off a plane. This is a week after Fresh and Fit, so I was clearly set up as well. And this is what happens when you don't follow the mainstream narrative, man. Like you put on a MAGA hat, and all of a sudden you're bipolar. You know, like that's what they say. And with Joe, it's interesting because it's okay for me to fit the narrative. I might be Jewish, but I'm still a straight white male. So whatever, boo hoo. But for people like Kanye and Kyrie, who are black men, all of a sudden, everybody that blames racism on everything, they just disappear. And everybody that's really about like pro gay people, where the fuck is Glad? Where the fuck are the pride people for Joe Exotic? They're fucking gone because he doesn't have the same ideological narrative that they have about being victims. Joe's an actual victim. But it's not because he's gay. It's because he was fucking wronged by a bunch of shitheads. And some of them might be homophobic, but because Joe has balls, he's not going to blame anything on homophobia. So it's just weird to me, these mental gymnastics of specifically Democrats and liberals, where all of a sudden they don't give a fuck about the gay guys or the black guys if they don't vote to the left.
Mhm. Hey man, I'm so glad you say that, man. And I see you coming from Jesse Jameson, expose all the fakes. That's why I'm glad you're here, Michael.
Yeah.
And that's also a conversation we have on a bigger scale. You know,
Yeah.
was really out there for just fame, right? The likes, the money, and was really out there to support somebody, as they say.
Yeah.
And we've truly seen now, after this whole COVID bullshit, what was there to support and what was not. And
Yeah.
so yeah, man, I'm glad to be here, together talking about this for sure.
Me too. Connor, you got anything?
No, I mean, yeah, obviously there's some fucked up shit going on in the world. It's tough because, on the one hand, obviously, I would encourage people to speak up, have courage, be brave, and say what they believe to be true. And I can't promote that enough. But on the other hand, there is this systemic issue here, which is really tough because there is this cancel culture and people are afraid for their livelihoods. You know what I mean? I mean, can you blame some people where they're afraid to say something because they might lose everything? They might lose
Yeah.
their financial success. They have a family to take care of. They have kids to take
Correct.
care of. So it's tough, man. When I see people giving into this cancel culture, it's not like I can hate on them because it's like, man, I also see where you're coming from, right? And so I think it needs to be focused more on like the systemic issue at play, because these
Yeah.
individuals, it's tough to view someone as like morally wrong for sticking with the system that is dependent on their like survival. Of
Uh-huh.
course, I have the utmost respect for the people who stand up against it, but it's tough to try and say that that is what you need to do or you must do because it's tough, right? The more people that do it, the better. But I also think, of course, we must have compassion for those that are afraid to do so and speak to the more systemic issue at play here. And it's tough. It's tough. That's why, I mean, this is why there's so much disagreement on it because it's not a simple issue. A lot of people
I
kind of view it from.
agree. I agree. However, there are people like LeBron James who, in my opinion, all right, motherfucker, you're a billionaire. You can speak your mind. You know what I mean? Like these really wealthy people, celebrities specifically, right? Woke Hollywood, where these fucking hypocrites, where they say everybody turn in your gun. Meanwhile, they live in like a private island with private security, with bodyguards with guns. Like that's where I have an issue. I don't like the hypocrisy is my problem. If someone really believed in environmentalism the way Leonardo DiCaprio did, if he lived on a fucking sandbox, I'd be okay with it. But if this motherfucker's going to fly private jets to collect Oscars, then I'm not going to fucking fault the coal miner that's trying to provide for his family.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's actually an even deeper issue at play, which is kind of this like pursuit of hedonism, right? I think a lot of people don't understand that a lot of millionaires, in fact, maybe even most millionaires, still live paycheck to paycheck. The problem is just they gain more wealth, right? And then they spend more wealth and they just have more expenses, right? Which is wild to me because it's like you still have essentially the same lifestyle as a poor person in terms of still having to worry about your money, still living paycheck to paycheck. You just have more stuff, right? And this is the problem, right? So this baffles me because now a much better approach would be if you're a millionaire, you use that money to have this like financial security where you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck, right? Where you are truly financially free. And then when these issues arise, you're not afraid to speak your truth because your life isn't actually impacted that much by cancel culture, right? So there's this kind of deeper issue at play where everyone just fucks over themselves by just accumulating all these expenses that are near equivalent to their income. And then still they rely on the system so much, right? And they're afraid to get canceled because, I mean, even if you're a millionaire and you get canceled, now all of a sudden you have $1 million worth of expenses and you're totally into bankruptcy and it's awful, right? And so I think there's a lot of these systemic issues that there would be a synergy. If we fix one, it starts to fix the other. And so there are a lot of different things to talk about, but there's a lot of issues going on. But I think it's important to tackle each one of these kind of simultaneously, and it'll have this synergistic effect and really affect the collective in a positive way.
Well said, man. Well said. I mean, it kind of like speaks to me as well because I created relative financial freedom for myself. However, you sometimes think about this like I think it comes with a lot more responsibility and also a lot more expenses, the lifestyle you're living. And then you kind of like have to step back like, hey, wait, what is more important? And I think the most
Right.
important thing right now is impact in the world. And yes, with more money you can create more impact, but most people are not doing that, right? Like you said, flying private jet, but talking about climate, they're not planting trees. They're not saving the forest in Brazil. Some of them are, but most of them are very concerned about their selfish, narcissistic pursuit of how can I maintain my image and how can I, be in the media a good persona and be perceived as a good man, right? Which is
Yeah.
conforming to the status quo. So that's a whole
Right.
nother thing, right? That should be talked about. Um, and I think right now, what the world needs is strong men, strong individuals that are
Yeah.
going to stand up and be a leader and dare to stand up, willing to lose it all, right? And are able to lose it all. Because if
Yeah.
we don't have that, then what do we have? We have a
Yeah.
failing society, we have a degenerate society. And I think if we look around us, I mean, we need more mentors, we need more leaders, and we need more
That's right.
courage. So, yeah, man, I hear what you said.
I'll get vulnerable for a second, man. So when I got out of the psych ward, um, and I spent a lot of money promoting Fresh and Fit. I spent a lot to get on Fresh and Fit because I just knew that if I did that show, doesn't matter what anybody did to me, they wouldn't be able to control the narrative because America would see who I am as a person. Even though the Fresh and Fit audience at least didn't like me in the beginning because there is some toxic masculinity in the red pill space. They did like me eventually, right? They're like a tough frat you got to break into, right?
Yeah.
But when I got out, the timing was that Sneeko. I don't know if you're familiar with Sneeko, but he just
Oh,
got
yeah.
his YouTube destroyed, his livelihood. Google owes him like 200 grand, and I immediately paid $1,000 to get a one-on-one session with him. Spoke to him, liked him, and then I immediately spent however much money I did to get him on this podcast 3 times. Why? It's not because I'm a clout chaser. It's because I want to support people that I believe are being unjustly treated. In fact, when I scheduled the Sneeko interview, 1 hour before the interview, my Instagram got suspended. My YouTube got a strike, or at least I
What?
got a warning. Yes, Patreon disabled my account. I had been a Patreon user for 3 years, supporting people like Tim Dillon, Yanis Pappas, Mark Normand. Got suspended out of nowhere. And American Express dropped me as a client, and the Four Seasons kicked me out of their
No
hotel.
way.
I swear to God, this all happened in the same week. Now, what people may say is, well, you owed them money and stuff. I did owe them money, but it wasn't to the extent. Like, I've had perfect credit my entire life, Jesse. I've never missed a payment, ever. I was lied to so many times by Patreon, by YouTube, by Instagram, by the Four Seasons manager that told me I was fine. Before I know it, after the Sneeko interview, there is a bodyguard, security guard, like ready to throw me out, and they threw me into the fucking rain outside. So I say all this to say I didn't interview Sneeko. I'm not interviewing Jesse because I want fame. I mean, of course, I've been pursuing acting my whole life. Of course, I want social validation. Everybody does, but I'm willing to risk getting canceled to support people that are being unjustly treated because I know what it feels like.
Yeah, that's cause bigger than ourselves. That's beautiful. That's honorable. Wow, man, that's a shocking story. God damn, just
Oh yeah,
Sneeko,
man.
man. I
I
do
mean,
know that he
Sneeko,
got
yeah,
he got
yeah.
canceled recently on Instagram.
Oh, he did. I didn't even
Yeah,
know that.
Or
did he not?
Sneeko.
Oh wait, he's
Sneeko
back.
that
He's back. Yeah, I think he's
I think
back.
Sneeko, that's the one platform he still has. He got
Okay.
banned from YouTube. I'm not sure if he was on TikTok or
Oh, he
not,
made
but
like
he
a
was.
second YouTube account and then he got banned there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just completely banned on YouTube, so he has to go over to Rumble. Rumble is kind of the new
Yeah.
place that they promote free
That's
speech,
where the
and
canceled people
that's where,
go.
yeah, exactly. The canceled people now all go to Rumble, which
The
is
canceled
interesting.
people go to heaven on Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting. I mean,
We might be there soon. Who knows, man?
Who
yeah,
knows?
it's like
I
I,
mean,
I mean,
we're keeping it nice here, I
YouTube is
think.
warning me.
Yeah.
Instagram suspended me. Patreon disabled me. American Express got rid of me as a client. My credit is
Yeah.
fucked. I had like an 800 credit score, and now it's just fucked. And I can't get a loan. I owe a lot of money. But here's the thing, you dumb fucks. You're not gonna shut me up. I'm not afraid to die for what I believe in. If Hillary Clinton comes after me, so be it. Right? like here's what these people don't understand. People like me, people like Connor, people like Jesse, people like Joe, people like Andrew Tate, people like Myron Gaines. We're really not in it for the clout. We happen to have an audience. I have a little audience, and they happen to fuck with what we say. That's all. It's not like we're out here like begging for attention. It's like, here's what we believe. If you fuck with it, great. If not, fuck off. And let's go back to Joe for a second. If you don't like Joe Exotic for any reason, let's say you're a left-wing person that thinks he abused animals, you can fuck off and read the facts. If you're a right-wing person that doesn't like him because he's gay, you can fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. This is not about politics. It's about a man who is unjustly imprisoned for reasons that are so fucked up and wrong. There's evidence everywhere. Look at the links in the description and follow Jesse's channel. Do a little research and please sign the petition and let's free Joe Exotic. That's what I have to say about this. What about you, Jesse?
I mean, I second that, my friend. I think that's beautiful. And also, to be honest, I think we're keeping it very nice on this podcast. I have to watch some of your streams back to understand more about the topics that you speak on. But
Sure.
I think it's honorable. I'm glad you do that. I think we need more of that. And it just regardless of what's going to happen in the future and how much people are going to be silenced, we have now a platform that is going to be bigger and bigger. One of them is Rumble, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be a voice. I'm going to be a voice until he's free, and I hope many more others will join me. Joe out there is in prison right now. He just transferred. And he's thinking about this. He knows that we're doing this. He knows that we are out there thinking about him, writing him, and supporting him. So I think people have to understand that he sees you and he appreciates you, and he will once. Also, he still believes that there is a way to have Joe Biden sign a pardon for him.
Yes.
That is something that he also keeps talking about, which would be technically the fastest way.
I'm working on that as well. I know some people that know Biden.
Yeah, that's great. Man.
I mean, obviously, I'm much better connected to Trump, and I know so is Exotic, but I'll do my best to contact the amazing president that is Joe Biden. Vaccine save lives. Black Lives Matter. Stop Asian hate.
Yeah,
I think
I get arrested, by the way, from BLM, that CEO.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the whole organization was based on a lie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all a fucking. My former co-host was a black man named Corey Armstrong. He quit the podcast after Fresh and Fit. But he used to say he was always on the side that Black Lives Matter was whack and it was a movement to sell T-shirts. And I think he was right.
What do you want to say, Connor?
I think the cool thing about the Joe Exotic thing, I don't believe, I could be wrong, but I believe wanting and talking about freeing Joe Exotic, that doesn't seem to be a cancelable offense quite yet. It seems like what's getting canceled now is some red pill stuff that might air on what
Connor.
Right? Wait,
Connor. The problem is Andrew Tate wants to free Joe Exotic, so by association, it is cancel culture-y.
Oh yeah, I suppose, but I'm saying inherently, I think that's the good thing. I don't think people are being canceled for this yet, which that means that more people should be talking about it. That's
the goal.
I mean, so I think that's good, and I think that people shouldn't be afraid to speak up for what they believe in. I mean, I don't know the whole story completely. You're talking about this thing called like Tiger Tales, where you really dissect the whole story.
Yeah,
completely.
Tell us more about that, Jesse.
And where is that? Like, where can I find that? Because I'm not knowledgeable enough to really make any like opinions about it yet. I don't know enough about it.
So real quick, before you do that, Jesse, I want you to take the floor for the next 5 to 8 minutes that we have left and use it to answer Connor's question and just let us know all the ways that the people are watching can help.
Amazing, man. I appreciate that. So, Tiger Tales. It is a series that is created by John Phillips, which is the lawyer, the criminal offense lawyer, I believe, now for a year by Joe Exotic. And he has a YouTube channel and also on Joe Exotic TV, I believe. You can find this series of the Tiger Tales. And also, I now set up a live stream on my channel where we are showcasing everything live. So you can literally go to Meester PT channel and you can watch every single thing. So those are
We're talking
the
about
ways.
your channel right now, Jesse
Yes,
Meesters.
yes, correct.
Which, by the
Yeah,
way, I super chatted $50 this morning and said hashtag free Joe Exotic. I don't know if you saw that.
you did, man. I have to log in and check that. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. So you did see Tiger Tales?
Yeah.
On
Well, I
the-
mean, I'll be
okay,
honest, I
amazing.
didn't watch all of it, but
Oh,
I've
okay,
just been
right.
bumping I Saw a Tiger all day. It's my favorite song.
Amazing. Yeah, I do expect to watch, at least you to watch 18 hours of it. But
I will. I'll watch all
yeah,
18 hours
I know.
with my little tiger friend.
Amazing. So that is a way. And I truly encourage people to write him. That's going to be shared on his socials soon.
Yeah.
The new updated address to do that, because that really gives him hope. And
Yeah.
he needs something to fight for. Also, I'm working on an NFT project. So we're investing a lot of money, because what happened before is another love that. Another thing that has happened with the T-King coin, which he didn't endorse, is that he got scammed, whereas he was told he was going to get a big portion of the tokens that he never got.
Oh my
And they
God.
made millions and
People
millions
are
of
the
dollars.
worst, man.
And
What the fuck?
we're like, hey, what should we actually create a token that is actually supported by him and where he actually is
Right.
going to make money off? No, let's do something else. Let's make an NFT project where
Okay.
actually people get utility from, community, and we can in perpetuity reward Joe for this NFT project. So that's kind of like what we're working on now. We're going to keep people updated on that. It's going to be a big investment up front, but I do believe that this is something that we can truly help Joe with on a bigger scale. Also, people can help Joe with his legal funds. Everything is on Joe Exotic, Joe Exotic's website,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you have a
You have a
link as
target.
well.
Do you have a target financial goal or anything like that, or just as much as people will donate?
As much as people will donate, yeah. But for some
Okay.
people, it's a couple thousand. For some people, it's a few dollars. I think
Sure.
everything
Everything
is
helps. Everything
yeah,
helps, right?
absolutely,
Everything
absolutely.
helps.
So that is one thing. So yeah, man, that's it. Let me see if I missed everything else. What he told me to share. Yeah, what is important also about the Tiger Tales collection? It's proving his innocence, but also it's not seen in Tiger King or anywhere else, or in Joe's criminal trial. And then something about Senator Langford, the Oklahoma senator who does not support Big Cat Safety Act. Everyone call on him to demand the pardon of Joe in exchange for the Big Cat Safety Act.
Yes.
I don't know. Senator
That's
Langford.
actually that's the video I recorded today.
Yeah.
So it'll
that's
be on
amazing.
Joe Exotic's social medias, me yelling at this senator to do that.
And there is now on his website, you can see on joeexoticusa.com/Joe Exotic Abused. You can read about all the inhumane prison conditions that he's going through right now, which I encourage people to look at.
Yeah.
Because people have no idea. I speak to him obviously, but the people that don't speak
Yeah.
to him, like, hey, well, what is he going through? I know he's puking every day. I know his blood results are
It's
dropping.
awful. So
yeah,
sad.
man, it's terrible.
Does
So
he
let's
still
keep
have
him in mind.
his sense of humor about him? Is he still able to laugh despite the horrible
man.
conditions?
Honestly, this is what I love about him. Like, he's
Yeah.
still joking with me. He's still playing
I
with
love
me.
that.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, through it all, like, I gotta give him that. That just shining
Yeah.
through his character and his jolly nature. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing, man. So all those links are in the description. We have joeexoticusa.com/free Joe Exotic, change.org/justice for Joe Exotic, evidence of innocence videos, joeexoticusa.com/evidence. And I already recorded this video, but let me read those exact words that Joe emailed me to say. Senator Langford, the Big Cat Safety Act is exactly why Joe Exotic is in prison. He is a political prisoner, and you should do the country a favor and demand a prisoner swap for him for the Big Cat Safety Act support that you're holding out on. And then Joe can testify in front of Congress how to really help big cats. So you heard it here first on the Jewish Jesus podcast. Hashtag free Joe Exotic in all your social media posts. Hashtag pardon Joe Exotic. Hit up Joe Biden. You know what I'm saying? Once he's awake, make sure to hit him up and let him know that that it's time to give Joe Biden. I'm sorry, to give Joe Exotic his. I mean, they have the same name. Why can't a Joe help a fellow Joe in need?
Amen.
Jesse, was there anything else you wanted to say?
No, that's it, my friend. And again, I appreciate for the platform. I appreciate everybody supporting, and let's make this happen, guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Where can the people find you, Jesse?
At Jesse Meester. That's where you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube, like Meester PT, which is back
Yes.
to my fitness days. But I think I'm sure you find on Jesse Meester too. So appreciate
Also,
you.
Jesse is
And,
verified on Instagram. He has 1 million followers. Therefore, he's better than most people because he has more followers and he has a blue check. Therefore, he's better than you if you're watching this. Connor, do you have any last thoughts here?
No, I think that's pretty much it, man. No, Jesse, it's good to see you again. And yeah, let's definitely do a podcast in the future, because in the near future, because there's some interesting stuff that's been happening in my storyline, and just kind of did a big video kind of revealing a bunch of stuff. And so, yeah, it'd be cool to talk about with you.
Absolutely, man. A lot of people have been asking about it, and also about which I'm not getting into, the Pramasati yoga. We have to talk about it. So yeah, man, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure we're gonna talk more because I'm in touch with Elvita about Joe and all the ways that I'm gonna. She said that she's glad there's somebody that has passion that isn't afraid to speak up, and I certainly have that. Connor has that. You have that. So, the more the merrier, right? And I have a lot of mutual friends with Andrew Tate as well. So hopefully we can get the top G and the top Jew together and free Joe Exotic, because the top G might have started the movement of at least social media being aware, but I'm gonna finish it. I'm getting Joe Exotic the fuck out. That's a fact.
I love that. That's it, man.
I'm getting Joe the fuck out. Connor, when I say I'm gonna do something, I always do it, don't I?
Yeah, Trilstein certainly has a lot of ambition, and he certainly puts his mind towards things. Absolutely. So when he's committed, he's absolutely committed. So
we gotta work together. We gotta work together, make it happen.
Yeah. Trust me, we're all gonna work together. I'm just saying, anything else is a bonus. But if I gotta swim myself to that prison and bust him out, I will. So if Joe escapes prison, it was me that did it. But we're gonna get him out naturally. We'll get Joe Biden to pardon him, or at worst, we'll figure it out. # free Joe Exotic. Hit the links in the bio. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.